Hi, everybody. I'm excited to have Chris and Leah back with me today. They're going to talk about an upcoming post we've got going live on the eComEngine blog and some really important stuff you guys need to know about the state of your seller-ness in general. So I'm going to ask them a couple questions, and then if you've got additional questions, make sure you post them in the comments, and I'll direct Chris and Leah your way to answer your questions. So hi, guys. Thanks for joining me today.
Hi, how are you?
Great, great. So you've got an article going live with us on August the 7th, and you talk about why sellers need to undergo regular seller reviews to make sure they understand how Amazon actually sees them. What do you think are the biggest red flags sellers should be aware of?
I talk to people who want me to review them manually a lot, but they want to do it every few months, and I think sellers need to do it much more often. And really, the only way to do it often enough and efficiently enough is to do it yourself to know the right way to do it. I think the red flags, looking at returns, why are buyers so interested in returning products in high numbers or at a high percentage? Obviously, negative feedback. Why is Amazon taking certain ASINs away from you? Is it quality complaints, condition complaints? But getting your hands dirty in the regular Seller Central details as often as possible, I think, is really important on a weekly basis, or even assigning an employee, if it's not you, to review return reasons, soft blocks, notifications, and respond to them as needed. Yeah.
Right. So let's dig a little bit more into return reasons. I know that at Boost they talked about return reasons and how key they are to understanding your seller performance. What are some of the most common returns reasons that get sellers in the hottest water fastest?
It's not necessarily a reason, but there are definitely keywords that can trigger a manual investigation. So things like anything to do with safety. If anyone claims that any part of your product could be unsafe, that'll definitely trigger a manual review. Words like fake or counterfeit, even things like this was broken or used, sold as new. Anything that represents a bad buyer experience and the return reasons could potentially trigger a review, a block listing, or even a suspended account, especially the safety ones. The safety ones, there's like zero tolerance for.
Yeah. And is there a way to actually see your returns reasons in Seller Central?
Yep, there's a report. Just the returns report will show the returns reason. Also, they told us at Boost that they're going to have a new dashboard that actually gives you way more information when it comes to returns, which is very exciting. And if you can get on that beta, get on that beta.
Well, and I remember in that presentation, he said something about, okay, we're going to give you all this insight, and then one way to look at all of your feedback about your products, and then you'll see if you've got an ASIN that's about to be suspended. Mm-hmm. So what are some dangers associated with ASIN level suspensions, and why don't sellers take those more seriously? Because you'd think if one ASIN gets suspended that you could be at risk totally. So what's the deal with that?
That's kind of a curious situation. I'm still hearing from a lot of sellers who don't get the connection between losing individual listings and losing their entire account. And I feel like enough people have received enough warnings where they put the ASINs at the bottom and they give you like a complaint category or a reason for taking them away from you, that you should be concerned because there's so much friction around account suspensions. You should be concerned this could impact the entire account. The default thinking that seems to go with people that are afraid to address problems is, oh, I don't care about these ASINs, I can just pull the inventory, and maybe I'll even send seller performance a message. A lot of people don't do that. But saying, we're not selling these anymore, we pulled the inventory, I took the listing down, as if that's an end in and of itself, but it's not. That's the beginning. That's your first step. The next step is, why am I getting these warnings about these ASINs? Are the returns too high? What are the nature of the complaints against them? Because clearly, if there's an established pattern, investigators will say there's something holistically wrong with either this category of products that you're selling, the way your operations run. They're sizing you up for a suspension at that point. So taking it seriously on an ASIN level first might head that off.
Right. So something I always ask about, seller feedback and customer reviews on the product reviews. Where did those things factor in, and how do they impact the larger seller picture?
It's similar to the returns reason. So same thing. Any of those keywords can trigger a manual investigation. A lot of times, though, what we'll see is people are like, "Oh, my feedback is great. Why am I suspended?" So the feedback and reviews isn't the one-stop shop. Like it can give you clues as to where there are problems, but you can't rely on that solely to check the health of your account. But yeah, again, same thing, keywords. And again, in that beta dashboard that they're doing, you'll be able to see all of that in relation to specific orders that have issues.
And you guys say that customer service and response time make a big difference. That's obviously something that we talk about a lot, in that if you get a bad feedback or you get a bad review, you need to respond right away to figure out how to fix the problem for your buyer. But I think that that's probably a big concern to Amazon too, considering they're so customer centric. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week marketplace, right? So you can't really take weekends off. In terms of buyer messaging, you're expected to respond within 24 hours, but really it's 12, 5, 7, 3. I mean, most people respond faster because they realize that if you ignore your buyers, they'll just take a complaint straight to Amazon, maybe not to you, per se. Right. They still want to return it either way, but they might not complain directly to Amazon if you handle them on the early side versus, we're not really looking at this over the weekend, or we'll respond when we get a chance. I mean, have somebody, if you're away on the weekends or, at night, have somebody globally, virtual assistants, somebody going in there and answering people, because that can reduce the likelihood that a complaint goes to product quality teams who represent the largest threat, to any account.
Obviously, yeah. So for all of these different touch points that we're talking about, all these different things that you need to look at, Amazon sends you performance notifications when you're falling behind with your reviews, or you're falling behind with your customer service response time. Do you get a notification for each one of those, or do you get a notification when you've struck out in each category or a number of categories? Like, how exactly does that work, and how can sellers really respond to those performance notifications?
You can get a performance notification for anything, really. It can be a single thing that's gone wrong, or it can be a pattern of things going wrong. What we see a lot is sellers will read the performance notification, but then do nothing about it. And I mean, yes, it is informational, but it is also, it's a warning shot. It's your chance to fix the problem before it results in a blocked listing or an account suspension. So what we suggest doing is, when you do get a performance notification, you should be doing the reviews anyway, but when you get a performance notification, you should be doing an account review based around that performance notification. So you're looking for any issues related to that notification, even on other ASINs. If they cite a specific ASIN, you should be looking at your other ASINs as well around that issue. And then actually reaching out to seller performance and telling them what you've done. It shows them that you're a proactive seller, and it also shows them that you're taking this seriously, and they're far less likely to take action against you later if they can see a pattern of you taking this seriously and handling the issues.
Right. So performance notification is an action item. It's not just an FYI.
Right. Yeah. You should be sending in essentially a plan of action, telling them, this is what we've done. This is how we're going to make sure this isn't happening again. Please annotate my account.
And then there's soft blocks, right, where you can list it, you can relist it yourself, they take the listing down, but those are warning signs potentially, where, and you can go through them individually. Some of them will be a series of comments, like a snapshot of comments from buyers that indicate nothing has to change. It's all buyer remorse, or they didn't read the listing right and they admit that they thought it was something different. But there are other soft blocks that you need to pay a lot of attention to. Because
but even with buyer remorse, if they misread the listing, maybe you need to update the listing.
Right. If there's a pattern of confusion or misunderstanding, then sure. Soft blocks, you can evaluate them one by one. Some people get a lot of these, some people get a few. You need to read them all, for starters. But some of them are true signs of something going wrong. And you can hit them, with solutions before they become actual hard block performance notifications, where Amazon says, we're taking this listing away until you can prove that you deserve to rightfully sell this. If you ignore the soft blocks, a lot of people just relist it and they don't really look at the buyer comments. They think it's just, noise, and they relist it and they forget about it. And if it leads to a performance notification later, that's because you didn't take action earlier. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What's funny is that the people that don't get a lot of these take them very seriously when they get them. But then the people that get a lot of them, it just becomes white noise, and they just kind of delete it out of their inbox without even thinking about it, which is the exact opposite of how they should be taking them.
Right. I mean, we're teaching people to take everything seriously just to be on the safe side. I mean, risk assessment theory dictates that you are better off assessing something and tossing it after you've thought about it, analyzed it, than ignoring it.
Absolutely.
So,
then if you're getting a lot of these, then you should definitely be paying attention to them.
Right. Amazon's not looking for the best marketplace; it's preparing for the worst marketplace.
So if a seller needs to undergo a regular account review of this magnitude down to these details, how do they do it? Is there an easy way to run down all that information? Is there a checklist somewhere that they can use?
We have a checklist.
What's the best way to go about this to make sure that you're 100% safe, that you're planning for the worst, but you're hoping for the best? How do they do it?
So we actually created this. This is why we created our membership, to give people the standard operating procedures to actually do this on a regular basis. Because you want to be doing it regularly, not just to catch the big things when they happen, but also to look for patterns. So if all of a sudden your return rate for a specific product has gone up by 10%, that could be an indication of a problem waiting to happen. So that's why we created the standard operating procedure, because we want this to be a part of your everyday business practices. This isn't once every 3 months I'm going to check on my account. This should be part of your everyday procedures, weekly procedures, monthly procedures. And unfortunately, Amazon doesn't give you a nice dashboard that shows all of the information that you need to check on this. So we've created the best that we can without having that software available in Amazon, because you should be tracking this data, even if Amazon is, they're just not showing you the tracking. So right. You should be tracking it as well. You should be doing what they're doing on your account.
And you can't rely on them. You can never go to Amazon and say, well, you never told me this was a problem, if it was something that you could have discovered on your own. I mean, that's where these soft block warnings from a moment ago came from. They're trying to give you a chance before they start doing really aggressive things to your ASINs or your whole account, give you a chance to address, problems. Just like now with account suspensions, sometimes you get a call from Seller Performance. I mean, it's in the pilot program stage, but they tell you, hey, you've got problems. You're trending in the wrong direction. Your metrics don't look so good. You've got too many item quality complaints. I mean, this is all about preventing suspensions, how to stave off potential danger by self-identification, and then translating that into action on your side, as opposed to I found some problems and I don't know what to do. I mean, they're prompting you to figure out, since it's your business, your operation, how best to address those concerns. Right. Otherwise, they remain unaddressed, and buyers suffer as a result, and that's what they're trying to push you to do. So
right. So we're showing people how to look at their account like a Seller Performance investigator, because who better to teach that than someone that used to be on that team?
That's right. Somebody who suspended accounts.
That guy, I don't know if I'm pointing the right way. That guy.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
Well, this is awesome. So the blog post is going live on August the 7th. I'll link to that in the video. I'm also going to link to the membership so that people can learn more about that. I love having you guys on my YouTubes.
We should start doing this every morning.
Every morning. It's morning time with Chris and Leah.
Morning with Liz
today. Yeah, I don't want to put on makeup every day. So
yeah, neither.
Well, thanks, guys. If anybody has any questions, get in touch with Chris and Leah in the link below, and we'll see you guys back really soon.
Thanks, Liz.
Thanks.